Mike, when you have seen the tape on Carissa, their quarterback, he ran for almost 100 yards against a Pac-12 defense in Washington State. Were those plays more like by design because you've seen the tape, his running, or was it just out of necessity?
Yeah, Portland State's more similar to the way they were in 2011 to 2012. They want the quarterback to run the ball.
Are they still running a pistol?
They do occasionally. They'll go under center at times, but they're primarily a midline, mid-option team that wants the quarterback to run the ball. They don't like to pitch it. They don't like to pitch it. They don't like to throw it. And they don't like to pitch it. But they like to hit you with dive and sweeps and reverses, and have the quarterback carry the ball as a counter player. He's the second running back in the backfield.
Okay.
Is there a different thought now going into this game after seeing them beat Washington State? Do you have to have a different mentality at all?
No, I don't think we have a mentality at all about our opponent. We always try to ignore who we're playing. You know, our slogan is not who we play, it's how we play. And our guys are conscious of the fact that Portland State hung 77 on us a couple years ago. I think the coaches probably remember that a little more. But we also are conscious of the fact that we won a narrow ball game down there, and the other thing is we have a 7-game home winning streak, and we haven't. If you're going to win the conference, you have to be undefeated at home.
Mike, what did it say in your mind as a coach of the conference, seeing what the conference did last week? You had two conference teams that were not picked very high, beating FBS opponents. You had Northern Arizona going on the road to knock off the top 25 FCS team. Conference may be even better, I think, than a lot of people thought.
The garden looks good. All the plants have just started to come out of the ground. I don't know if it's going to be edible by the November. Who cares about that first game? Whether you play a 1A opponent or a Division II opponent, week one doesn't tell us anything. And our coaching staff focus has never been on September. Never. September's install month for us. I don't care who we play, how we play, or what we do. By the time we get to October, you got to win every game in October, and then in November you got to rise to the challenge. So September, much ado about nothing.
Does that mentality have to change since it is a conference game a little bit?
No, not a bit. Not a bit. We're still unearthing our quarterback. I mean, he played with about 40% of our game plan last week with our overall offense. And now he'll get a little more this week, and he'll get a little more next week, and he'll get a little more the week after that. The fact that it's Portland State game 2 is inconsequential to how we're trying to coach our offense and coach our defense. We're still opening the boxes for those guys. I mean, Hayden Stout's played one game as a Mike linebacker. John Peoples has played 20-some plays for us. Those guys we got a long ways to go to say this is the final product. The fact that we play Portland State early in the year is cool for both teams, but I doubt whether this game will be a barometer how each team will play in October and November. I doubt by the time both these two teams get to November, this game will be a long, distant memory.
Are you planning on using Tanner at all?
Yes, Tanner will play in the ball game right away. You darn right. And we'll play all of our receivers, all of our backs. We'll play all of our depth. We're not so myopic that we're going to just play 14 or 13 guys on offense and same way on defense. We're playing our width and our depth and our bench and everybody that's going down the ramp that's eligible to play is probably going to get an opportunity to play on Saturday because it's game 2 of the season. You know, and if you run a program, if you run a program in which you're developing players, you're going to use game 2 against anybody as another experience for the guys who haven't played a lot.
So talk about the progress you want to see your quarterbacks make from game 1 to game 2 for both of them and what you saw in game 1.
Well, we need to continue to be accurate. We need to throw the ball in rhythm and timing. There were about 4 passes in the game that Tanner showed that he's a redshirt freshman. And Michael held the ball one time, but he only played, a quarter and a half, literally. So Michael's got to play against a more ferocious rush. We'll see. He's not been tackled yet. Can Michael Sanders play after he gets tackled one time? He hasn't been tackled yet. And Tanner got tackled once, and he carried the ball. So there's a lot of great opportunity and learning going to go on Saturday for us as a football team that doesn't have much to do with Portland State.
Corey fumbled, and that's something I think that's named him at times. Maybe that's the development that you talked about. So how does he eliminate that, and how much of an issue is it, particularly when X doesn't fumble?
Our running backs don't fumble, whether it's Ja'Cory Ford or X, period. So if you fumble, you're not one of our running backs. I think that says the whole thing. Ja'Cory cannot fumble. There's 3 things that are important for any football team. 1 is to win, 2 is keep your quarterback upright, and don't take a sack in the red zone, and 3 is don't turn the ball over. And when you violate one of those first three principles,